I want to look at this new Assassin's Creed video that they put up on Friday. Are you guys ready? Like, oh my God, yes, please, Luke, shut the hell up. Okay, you ready? Let's check it out. Basim, the Master Assassin.
Basim is our main protagonist in Assassin's Creed Mirage. He's a fascinating character, one that fits the mold of classic assassin, deadly and resourceful with a complex...
Sarah Beaulieu. I'm gonna try looking up what else she has done. Let me just type her name and I'll copy it. Sarah Beaulieu. Let's see what else she's worked on. About me. Narrative director, Ubisoft. Okay. Pull up her LinkedIn. I've been working as a writer since 2008. Okay. Oh, don't even do this to me. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like so toxic with all of their constant like, sign up for this, sign up for that. So before this, she worked freelance for 14 years. She started working on Mirage in April of 2021. So it's been close to 2.5 years. She's in charge of defining narrative pillars of the game, defining the story, characters, themes, defining the narrative structure, when narrative elements are spread, defining the narrative means of the game, how narrative elements are spread, supervising the writing of narrative content, both audio and textual, dialogues, barks, flavor text, etc., revising, rewriting when needed. My team is composed of 9 writers. Okay, so 9 people, maybe including her, 10, are writing for this game. Collaborating with other directors, the creative director, quest director, reel director. I wonder what the reel director is. Is that just like the director of cinematics and stuff? Maybe it's like REEL? I don't know. Game director, audio, etc. to maintain consistency. Makes sense. Collaborating on audio. Okay. She previously worked at Ubisoft as a writer for about a year in France, working on Beyond Good and Evil 2. Oh, okay. So she worked on Beyond Good and Evil 2, and clearly that went really well. Maybe her work's just done. I mean, she might have just been like, oh, this is never ending. Let's just bail. And before that, I mean, I don't speak French. I don't read it. So some of this stuff I'm not familiar with. I don't know what this is referencing. Looks like she's done a bunch of work, various companies, corporate movies in both French and English. So she's done some work, but it's not like she's got a history, as far as I can tell, of working on like huge narrative games that are really, really well known. Not to say she isn't capable, but it just doesn't look like she has the background as far as I can tell.
Personality. For that reason, we felt that Mirage needed to be a strong narrative-driven experience. One that would honor Basim as a character, surprise our players, and take them on a memorable adventure. We first met Basim during the events of AC Valhalla. Having traveled from...
That's not what it's called.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
So, strike one. I'm kidding.
From the Middle East to England, he acted as a mentor figure for Ivor. But Basim had motives of his own, and his past was shrouded in mystery.
Yeah, he did.
We knew early on that we wanted to explore a setting.
Oh, look at OG Assassin's Creed. OGAC, man.
That was.
These were... I mean, they were pretty groundbreaking games for the time. Going back and playing them, they're pretty tough. Like, AC2, I think, is still pretty good. It's a little clunky, but it's still a very impressive game. But, I mean, you can definitely see how much inspiration they took from this. Because even some of the screenshots and wallpapers and stuff that they've sent out and press shots for AC Mirage are this, like, exact framing. It's this exact shot. So it's just funny.
To explore a setting that was reminiscent of the first Assassin's Creed game. So naturally, we made the connection between the Golden Age of Baghdad and Basim.
Okay, he's the creative director, Stéphane Bourdon. So he has previously worked as creative director, content director for Wrath of the Druids, Ghost Recon Wildlands Mercenaries, and Year 2 of Wildlands. Then before that, he worked as a lead level designer for Ghost Recon Breakpoint, associate lead level designer on Wildlands, senior level designer on Wildlands, worked on Watch Dogs, the OG Watch Dogs, for about a year, worked on Rabbids Lands, Raving Rabbids, and way before that, he worked at Ubisoft as a lead or level designer on Ghost Recon, Raving Rabbids, Red Steel 2, Rayman, Raving Rabbids, and Red Steel. So he hasn't worked on Assassin's Creed before Wrath of the Druids.
Titles.
There we go.
But of course, for our most dedicated fan, there will be a lot of secrets, Easter eggs, and connections with past games and the overall lore of the series.
Assassin's Creed Mirage is set in 861 AD, 12 years before the events of Valhalla. We meet Basim in his youth, making a living as a thief on the streets of Anbar, near Baghdad, alongside his best friend and partner in crime, Nehal. As far back as he can remember, Basim has been haunted by visions and nightmares that he's been unable to understand. He's come to question who he is and where he belongs. Much to Nehal's frustration, Basim believes his destiny lies among the hidden ones.
Basim ends up at Alamut, the renowned assassin home base that at that time was still under construction. It's here that he learns the way of the assassins and becomes one of the hidden ones. Soon, he's tasked with tracking down the Order in Baghdad, kickstarting his life-changing journey.
Creating the character of Basim in Mirage was an interesting challenge. Having met him as an older man in Valhalla, we had to imagine what he would have been like in his younger years. Everybody in the team is a long-time AC fan. That's why it was so important for us to bring back that Levantine assassin look to Basim's costumes.
And I want to just touch on this because we have been looking at some of the background for some of these people working on the game in leadership positions. And it seems like most of them that we've come across, if not all of them in senior positions, don't have a history working on the franchise. They might have done a little bit of DLC here, worked on this or that. But it's not like these guys are long-term fixtures in this this franchise. It's just not their bread and butter. They've worked on other things, and that isn't necessarily like extremely concerning. Like, you can still be a fan of these games and do good work without necessarily having worked on a handful of other things. I think I'd be more comfortable or like more confident in this being a really faithful follow-up or faithful I guess almost reboot of the series or return to form if it was the case that like, oh, the guy that directed AC1 or AC2 is coming back to direct AC Mirage. That would make me even more excited, more hyped or comfortable or whatever. But again, this is a smaller project. If they were the creative director of AC2 or of one of these huge games, they probably have been promoted many times previous and they wouldn't be working on a small spin-off game. They would be the director of like AC Red or AC Hexe or whatever the next big project is that their particular like studio underneath Ubisoft was working on. So I would say I would prefer if there were people that were directly involved in the original games working on these, but they could still be fans. They could still be big fans of the original games and really excited to return to form. So I don't think it's any cause for extreme concern. It just would be nicer if they had some veterans working on it too.
Crafting new visuals and stories around an existing character poses a unique challenge. It gives us room for nods to other entries in the series, pushes us to respect our legacy, while offering something fresh and exciting for players. After becoming a hidden one, Basim inherits the apprentice outfit, a white robe with blue shades, and a small beaked hood. We found opportunities to connect Mirage to the wider franchise, such as the red sash wrapped around Basim's arm in Valhalla. In Mirage, we learned that it was a symbol of the rebellion, an item worn by many of our side characters, and something Basim chose to keep with him years later.
I love that. That's a really nice touch.
There are several levels of conflicts in our story, from the one in the city arising from the Zend rebellion to Basim's internal conflict as he's torn between his roots and his destiny, between his old friends like Nehal and his new comrades like Roshan and the Brotherhood. As Basim fights to free Baghdad from the Order's oppression, he begins to ask questions about himself, his past, and the meaning of freedom.
The story of Mirage follows Basim's evolution from apprentice to mentor, a journey that is reflected in the game systems. There is no XP-based progression in Mirage, instead progression is linear and story-driven. As you follow the story and complete missions, your rank increases within the Brotherhood, giving you new opportunities for missions, outfits, and tools. We have new tools that can be upgraded and customized for Basim.
And honestly, I'm okay with that. Not every game needs to have like, it will basically just be a mini RPG. It's okay.
Giving him a deadly and effective assassin's toolset.
Silent projectile capable of putting targets to sleep can be modified to apply poison or cause a fit of rage. Yeah, that is a throwback.
When fully upgraded, these tools can allow for some interesting and unexpected gameplay strategies.
We crafted a range of different outfits for Basim, so you can make the character feel personal to you. We're also bringing back a fan favorite feature, outfit dye, which you can use to change the colors of certain outfits, just like you could in AC2 or Brotherhood.
Combat has been revamped as well, with new moves and mechanics built specifically for Basim. Much like Altair, Basim's primary combat tools are his sword and dagger. For the animation team, our goal was to create an agile master assassin who's as elegant as he's deadly.
An assassin focus allows you to slow down time and perform a deadly kill streak. But be careful, you'll want to pay attention to where you will end your last move to avoid unexpected fights.
Basim
I just don't like that move, man. I just don't like how it teleports.
And perform a deadly kill streak.
Granted, this is just me, so I might be just off base here. But one of the things that excited me so much about this game was that it was going to be a return to, I guess, like, Assassin's Creed has never been grounded. So, like, it's always been sort of, it's had this supernatural thing with the Isu storyline. It's had super sci-fi techie stuff with the Abstergo plot lines. So it's never been super realistic or anything. But one of the things I enjoyed about it is that if you went back in the historical settings, the characters were human. Like, they didn't have any crazy supernatural abilities. The reason Altair was good at navigating levels was because he practiced and trained and was good at free climbing and exploring these levels. Like, the reason that Connor in AC3 was good at what he was doing was, again, because he trained with a master assassin for a long time before he was able to do all of that. And even then, he wasn't capable of just totally supernatural moves. Like, yeah, they were like movie sequences, like high action. Okay, a real person probably couldn't do that, but it was still like relatively grounded, especially compared to what we have now. And then this stuff is just straight up teleportation, and I'm just not that into it. Like, if it was revamped a little bit, so just like in Batman Arkham Knight, there's like a movement with the fear takedowns where Batman's actually like shuffling and almost like crawling to the next target. I think that would help. I know some people have been saying, oh, it's because he's moving so quickly. Basim is moving so quickly that it's causing the Animus to glitch. And that's why it seems like he just teleports. And I guess, you know, maybe I'll start telling myself that so that I don't feel like I'm snapping out of it. I think that that's probably how they explain it too. But either way, that's an excuse. It's still as a gameplay mechanic. I don't care if it's explained narratively one way or the other. It, as a mechanic, it doesn't fit, I don't think. I would have preferred that it's not there. I understand they can explain it away in various ways of like, oh, well, it's actually because it's the glitch of the Animus, which loses movement data and blah, blah. It's okay. I don't care. It's still something that they put in the game that I don't think fits. You know, I can explain anything away. It doesn't mean that I'm okay with that thing being present or absent.
But be careful. You'll want to pay attention to where you will end your last move to avoid unexpected fights.
Basim feels different from Eivor. The focus on one main weapon, his sword, allowed us to put all of our intention into developing an agile character who's intuitive to control.
Yeah, that's what people making up excuses. Well, yeah, it's the same thing as like, oh, well, maybe Death Stranding. I was thinking about this the other day. Like Death Stranding has that thing where all of the NPCs you come across, except for a few very specific cases in cutscenes and stuff, all of the NPCs when you're making deliveries are these holographic people. Like, and they're really bad. They're just like, thank you so much for delivering this thing to me. Thank you so much. I love you. I appreciate your delivery. That was very good. Wow, how did you get this here in one piece? That's crazy. And for me, it took me out every single time. I'm like, I just traveled halfway across the United States to deliver this thing to you. And you're just going to be like, yeah, thanks. Anyway, bye. Here's an otter hat. You know, it tore me out of it. But people said, oh, the reason you're not meeting the actual human being when you deliver that is because with the time fall, it's not worth the risk of unnecessary exposure. And because of this, and this, they have to sanitize the deliveries before that. And I'm like, okay, they explained it away. I still don't like the choice. They could have had actual humans present and then explained that away. Had actual decent NPCs with quality facial animations and stuff that wasn't just a floating person going like, thank you for the delivery. They could have had actual stuff there, actual people there talking with you and interacting with you, and then explain that away and be like, oh, well, the reason they can do that is because they go into this sanitization pod, and then it cleans them, so then they're good. It's like, okay, that would have explained it too. So anybody can explain anything away. Anybody can do that. What we're asking is whether or not the actual choice that they're explaining one way or the other is a good choice. And in this case, I think that the teleportation thing is just not a choice I would have made. And yeah, you're right. There was teleportation stuff with Leonidas' spear. Absolutely. In Odyssey. I thought Odyssey was... Origins started to dabble in it with like the special effects on weapons like fire and poison buildup and stuff like that. Odyssey just fully embraced it with you being able to just like straight up do supernatural stuff that just didn't make any sense. They also, like, Assassin's Creed as a franchise is defined by like the leap of faith into the hay bale. And after level 25 in Odyssey, they just take away fall damage. You can jump off of a cliff landing 300 feet below you in Odyssey, and as long as you're above level 25, you just kind of roll out of it. That to me was just really, really bizarre. That's why as an Assassin's Creed game, I don't think Odyssey is very good. As an open world exploration adventure RPG, Odyssey I think is very impressive in a lot of ways. Anyway, setting that aside.
Of course, that also means that the combat will come with bigger challenges, higher stakes, and a greater reliance on tools to escape tricky situations.
From his story to his appearance to character progression, we designed Basim as a fresh twist on the classic assassin archetype.
We hope you are as excited as we are to take the first steps on Basim's journey.
I mean, I'm into it. I'm intrigued. I want to know more, but I definitely think that it's not going, like, we just have to manage expectations. It's not going to be Assassin's Creed 1.5 or Assassin's Creed 2.5. Like, it's going to be Assassin's Creed Valhalla with a coat of paint reminiscent of AC1 and 2. And that's going to be a good time. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a cool little trip down memory lane. But I think it's just important that people keep expectations in check. This started in its ideation phase as a small little DLC and then blew up into something bigger. So it's just important to not expect too crazy much. Otherwise, we'll all be sad. Okay. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed Valhalla.